Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
Right now on the news at 10, a weather watch alert for Thursday night. Heavy rain and strong winds will time out the rain and show you when the strongest winds will be.
And conspiracy theorist Alex Jones will owe Sandy Hook families nearly $1 billion. We're going to have live team coverage of the verdict in the defamation trial of the InfoWars host.
Also, Bradley International Airport was offline for several hours in a cyber attack. Details on the latest incident for another airport in the U.S.
And a resounding affirmation that people of goodwill, dedicated to the truth, mindful of their responsibilities to their fellow citizens, can come together to protect the innocent.
We begin with a jury ordering conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to pay nearly $1 billion to 8 Sandy Hook families and an FBI agent. Good evening, I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. Thanks for joining us here. In Waterbury Superior Court, 15 people were part of the case against Alex Jones, who spent years spreading lies on his website, InfoWars, that the 2012 school massacre didn't happen. In today's verdict, the jury determined that he should pay $965 million to those families and the FBI agent.
We have live team coverage tonight of the verdict in the defamation trial. DeAndrea Turner is in our studio after hearing from legal experts about today's ruling. But first, we want to go over to Tony Black, who's in our newsroom right now after hearing from the attorneys and families outside of court today. Tony.
Yeah, Ben and Jen, 14 days of testimony and 3 days of jury deliberations came to an end today as a jury determined Alex Jones should pay $965 million in damages to Sandy Hook families and an FBI agent outside the Waterbury courthouse. Emotions poured following this verdict.
After years of fear, threats, harassment, after realizing that Alex Jones's cruelty and greed knew no bounds, they decided to take a stand.
Weeks of testimony in Waterbury Superior Court in the defamation trial against Alex Jones has come to an end, and the verdict, unprecedented. A jury ruled Jones be ordered to pay nearly $1 billion in damages to 8 Sandy Hook families and an FBI agent suing Jones for defamation and emotional distress. Some of them spoke after the verdict was read, including Robbie Parker, who lost his 6-year-old daughter Emily in the 2012 shooting.
All I can really say is that I'm just proud that what we were able to accomplish was just to simply tell the truth.
Erica Lafferty's mom, Dawn Lafferty Hochsprung, was the school's principal.
I wish that after today, I could just be a daughter grieving my mother. After almost a decade of threats and messages from conspiracy theorists led by Jones, this is a moment years in the making.
Alex Jones's attorney, Norm Pattis, said the verdict was more than they expected, and they look forward to appealing it. He calls it a dark day for freedom of speech.
Candidly, from start to finish, the fix was in this case. In more than 200 trials in the course of my career, I've never seen a trial like this.
It was a trial bringing many witnesses to the stand, including Jones himself. Those impacted shared how Jones's lies and the response from his supporters since has taken a toll on their lives. The families say Wednesday's verdict shows actions have consequences and that the truth matters.
This jury has taken back, for all of us, something we've been hemorrhaging over the last decades, which is core decency and humanity.
When it comes to payout, the attorney for the plaintiff says that they will enforce that, whether it be in a state court or a bankruptcy court. Jones's media company, Free Speech Systems, also named in the lawsuit, filed for bankruptcy in July. The judge, in this case, will next consider punitive damages, which would go on top of the jury's verdict today. The attorneys say whatever available assets Jones has, they will work to ensure that the Sandy Hook families have access to them. In the newsroom, Tony Black, Fox 61 News.
All right, Tony, thank you very much. And the verdict may have been handed down this afternoon, but the legal fallout in this trial is far from over.
There are still plenty of questions out there to be answered as to what happens next. Fox 61's DeAndrea Turner joining us live in studio tonight to break down what does come next. DeAndrea.
Well, you guys, people are asking where this money is going to come from and how long it will take for them to receive it. I talked to a lawyer to find out what comes next in this case.
After almost a decade of threats and messages from conspiracy theorists led by Jones, this is a moment years in the making.
In what was a long-awaited verdict, Alex Jones has been ordered to pay $965 million to aid families of Sandy Hook victims and an FBI agent who said they were harassed and threatened as a result of Jones' lies following the 2012 tragedy.
They deliberated about what they thought a reasonable, just, fair, and reasonable number was to compensate the plaintiffs for their emotional distress and the harm to their reputation.
But questions remain on whether the plaintiffs will see any of that money and how much Jones is actually worth. Quinnipiac law professor and lawyer Tony Minchella says,
the question is not going to be where it's come from, it's going to be how do they get it.
He also says what the plaintiffs will have to do is find out where Jones' companies are.
And with limited liability companies, they can go after what's called a charging order to attach distributions to him from the LLC's profits. It's going to be a long road.
The road is already long for the families of the victims, but their lawyers promising that they are in it for the long haul.
We are going to go to whatever forum we have to, whether it's in Texas or in bankruptcy court or right here. We are going to enforce this verdict as long as it takes, because that's what justice requires.
So now that the jury has ordered Jones to pay this, what happens next?
Before they can start executing, they have to exhaust, all the appeals have to be exhausted.
Jones' legal team, led by attorney Norm Pattis, plans on appealing Wednesday's verdict, meaning this case is not quite over yet.
We very, very, very much look forward to an appeal.
But the families say the verdict is a huge step in their healing process.
This is sending the right message that people are good and that good does prevail.
And Jones is already on the hook for a $49 million verdict issued by a Texas jury back in August. That verdict was awarded to the parents of Jesse Lewis, one of the children lost at Sandy Hook. Later this month, a Texas judge is slated to consider whether he can invoke a state law that limits damages to $750,000. Well, there isn't a law here in Connecticut to do that. But after that, Jones faces a third defamation trial in Texas in a lawsuit filed by parents of another child killed at Sandy Hook. In the studio, DeAndrea Turner, Fox 61 News.
DeAndrea, thank you very much. And stay with Fox 61 for continuing coverage of this verdict in the Alex Jones trial. We have much more on fox61.com and on the Fox 61 News app.
Moving on here, we have a weather watch alert tonight as we're expecting heavy rain and wind coming our way tomorrow. Let's check in with meteorologist Ryan Breton. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Ben and Jen. Hi, everybody. The heaviest of the rain is going to come in late tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night into early Friday morning. It will come with some gusty winds, too. And some of the totals may be impressive. A widespread 1 to 2 inches of rain. But some of the model data coming in tonight upping the ante a little bit. So I think some places in eastern Connecticut could see up to 3 inches of rain out of this, in addition to the strong gusty southeast winds. That will knock down some leaves, possibly some tree limbs too, but those leaves could clog up storm drains, leading to some street flooding in the heaviest downpours tomorrow night. You can see everything starting to come together now. Rain going through the southeast, a storm system coming down from the north. All of that is pointed at southern New England and headed here for tomorrow. Right now, though, it's quiet. We just have some clouds moving in, and for the rest of the night, it won't cool off much. At the shoreline, low temperatures around 60 degrees. Inland, we'll have lows dropping into the 50s by tomorrow morning. Out the door in the morning, it should be quiet. Mostly cloudy with just an isolated shower. But as the day goes along, the rain chances will go up. We'll get into the low 70s, actually, tomorrow afternoon with some scattered showers and downpours. But then the heavy rain comes in tomorrow evening, probably after the evening commute, and that's when the gusty winds will come as well. Quick look at the timeline. An isolated shower in the morning, lots of clouds for the middle of the day, then a few showers and downpours develop in the afternoon before this main line of heavy rain pushes in for tomorrow night. We'll take a closer look at the rainfall totals and the wind gusts with this storm coming up in just a few minutes.
Ryan, thank you. We're following breaking news tonight as Bradley International Airport's website was briefly knocked offline this evening due to a cyber attack. The Connecticut Airport Authority confirmed that Bradley's website suffered what's called a distributed denial of service, or DDoS, incident. It's unclear who's responsible for that attack or why Bradley was targeted. The attack appears to only be limited to the website. No data was breached and airport operations were not affected. This comes after several reports across the country were victims of cyber attacks last weekend.
Well, we have an update from the death of a man in Hartford on Tuesday. Police have arrested and charged 2 men with murder. Police say 32-year-old Jaquan Davis and 35-year-old Colin Campbell assaulted Antonio Lopez on Park Street early Tuesday morning. Lopez died at the hospital.
Several units at a condo complex are damaged following an early morning fire in South Windsor. It happened at the Westage condo complex around 1 a.m. 2 people that were home during that fire escaped unharmed. South Windsor's fire chief says that fighting that blaze went as well as it could have. He says that we all need to make sure that we have working smoke detectors and an escape plan in place, just like the people at that condo did.
They had working smoke alarms that helped notify the occupants of the place. This is during Fire Prevention Week, so it's critical to make sure you have an escape plan and not go back inside.
The property manager is helping the 2 displaced people find a new home.